So now this morning we are doing a very familiar passage that I have heard preached at me, over me, to me, that I have preached a few times, and that you've probably also heard if you've been in churches for a while. It's the story of the prodigal son. And we're going to look at that this morning because I think it's a nice crescendo after what we have been through the last couple of weeks. So Luke 15 verse 11 to 32 is where the story of the prodigal is captured. I don't think we realize the significance of it because some preachers have preached it a certain way, and they normally land on the heart of the older brother and how that is evident in the story. And maybe this morning we can land on the heart of Jesus, if God will allow me. So let's start it like this. I go for a coffee with a friend. Friend sits down. We start talking. The friend says something to me. I was like, "You lie." They're like, "No, I'm telling you this." I'm like, "I can't believe you. You're lying. You're kidding." They're like, "No, I'm telling you the thing." And I was like, "No. Oh my gosh, no." Have you ever had that type of experience? They have to repeat a thing for you to get it. Yeah. And also, like, it starts like this. I go, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." Like there's repetition. Okay. Very important. The Hebrew language and the literary devices that they use work the same way. In the Bible, for instance, if you go to Psalm 136, His steadfast love endures forever. It's the heading. Verse 1, give thanks to the Lord for He is good. For His steadfast love endures forever. I'm going to read it and then you can just fill it in. Verse 2, give thanks to the God of gods for His steadfast love endures forever. Verse 3, give thanks to the Lord of lords for His steadfast love endures forever. 26 times in 26 verses it's repeated. His steadfast love endures forever. What do you think the theme of the psalm is? Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. No, you lie. Yes, His steadfast love endures forever. There is a literary device. There is a way that the Jewish people used language to emphasize certain things. So if you speak to any theologians, they're going to tell you, the impressive ones that have doctorates and names, that have ministries and headed up, like the Timothy Kellers of this world, they'll say to you, when something is repeated in the Bible, it is because somebody is drawing your attention to it and they are emphasizing something. And we all say, yes. And at the same time, we all say, shucks, why didn't I think of that before? I just read the verses out of duty. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay, so His steadfast love endures forever. Yeah, or is it just me that sometimes read those repetitions like, ish, it's actually a bit annoying. I shouldn't be too vulnerable with you guys, because now you're going to judge me harshly. But sometimes we do treat it like the Bible is a 4-year-old child that keeps telling us the same thing that we already know, but they keep repeating. Mommy, 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 mommy. Let's not do that to the Word of God. Let's just all of us decide right now. The way that it is written to emphasize what we are supposed to hear. Yeah, can we do that? And that's what happens here with the story of the prodigal son. The chapter that we are looking at is Luke chapter 15. It is the only of the Gospels that contain the story of the prodigal son. Now, the first week I started Storyteller, we looked at the lost sheep. Who was here? Yeah. The second one, we looked at the Good Samaritan. We had that brilliant drama acted out here with my improv team. Now we're back to Luke 15. So that lost sheep is the first parable story in Luke 15. And then right after that is another little parable with also like a succinct telling of something. And then it ends Luke 15 with the story of the prodigal. The reason why they called it chapter 15 is because every prodigal that is told in Luke 15 has a similar theme. It is in essence doing what we do when we talk to our friends. My gosh, my gosh, my gosh. That's what's happening in Luke 15. So the first one I did was the storytelling of the shepherd that went to go and find the lost sheep, and he puts it on his shoulders and he leaves 99 sheep to go and fetch one sheep that got lost. I told you it's a succinct story, and don't lose the impact of it because it's not as dramatized as our lives are at the moment. Jesus tells that story. Right after that, he goes, a woman has lots of money. You don't want to know who the woman is? Thought I'll get a bit more attention. I don't know her name either. She has lots of money. She has so much money, she just throws the coins around in her house and it goes missing. Who's here? I'll send the red box home with you. Gooi your excess money in the red box, bring it next week, okay? But this is what happens. This lady, Jesus says, there's a lady that has lots of coins and she loses one. And then he says, and doesn't she go and turn every part of her house upside down? She searches like I search. Not how my children search. Not like my wife searches. She searches like me, who becomes relentless. You want to see me search for something, hide my keys. I go mull. It drives me nuts if I don't know where all the keys for the house is. It's just something neurotic in me. I can't help it. This is what this lady does. She searches everything, under blankets, she moves furniture out. It's a short little telling where Jesus says, and then when she finds the thing, her coin is not lost anymore. And she goes to her friends and she says, I found my coin. So the first one is the shepherd goes and he finds the sheep. He's so happy. He finds it, puts it on his neck, walks home. He says, hey, everybody, it's party time. I found a lost lamb. Now, Brandon and I know why there was a party, because that lamb wasn't running away again. That thing was going straight into a potjie. The second one, she goes and she finds the coin after searching. And she says, all my friends come, I found my coin. And they have another party. They rejoice together. Guess what happens in Luke chapter 15, verse 11? He repeats the same theme, but now it's not a livestock. It is not wealth. It is a person who has gone lost. He's gone missing. Are you starting to pay attention to the repetition that is recorded here? Now, first of all, I thought, Luke is writing this gospel and he's repeating a lost theme, the shepherd. He's repeating a lost theme, the coin. He is repeating a lost person. There's another theme. And then I realized, my gosh, I'm reading it as if this was Luke's life, but it wasn't. It was the life of Jesus. He is merely the historian documenting how Jesus engaged the way of the time to grab the attention of the public that he was speaking to and to emphasize the theme that he wanted to communicate. Don't read the Bible as if you are reading the tellings and the stories of the author. Well, in essence, the author of the authors is the Holy Spirit. But don't get lost in that for a second, because you're going to miss it. This is the creator of the world, the Son of God, who came to be Son of Man, who is doing something, engaging the culture of the time, engaging the way of the time, and communicating something with emphasis. Jesus is the one telling the story of the lost sheep. Jesus is the one telling the story of the lost coin. Jesus is the one telling the story of the lost son. 3 times he repeats it. There's a theme and there's emphasis. Why am I getting so excited about this? Because it's Jesus. It's what was left by Jesus for us to discover now. It's left eternal truth by Jesus, the author of life, for us to delve in now. It means there is something in it that should bring life in us. It should bring relationship closer with God in us. That is why you should get excited when you read the Gospels. This is the Son of God speaking. It is recorded here for us, hovered over by the Holy Spirit, and say, one day on the 27th of July, before you win the potjie, my son, you are going to read this portion. That's specifically for me. On the 27th of July, before you lose the potjie competition, my son, my daughter, don't weep too much. Read the word. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? I'm going to take us back to the one when we spoke about the lost sheep, because what happens is Jesus is confronted by people that come to accuse him of having a less than religious character. Beginning of Luke chapter 1 starts with the Pharisees and the scribes saying, who is this man that eats with tax collectors and sinners? At the same time, when they communicate, they are communicating something else. They are saying one thing, but they are completely communicating something else. And what are they saying? Why doesn't he spend time with us? We deserve it. We are righteous, holy, and perfect. According to the law, we don't mix with sinners and tax collectors. Can you hear them? I can hear them. I think I sometimes hear myself. Obviously not you guys. You don't judge other people. It's only me. Oh, Jesus, why did you show up for them and not for me? Yeah, I've done everything. I even gave an extra 2% tithe this month. That's 12% now. It's contemporary. Think what those people are saying. I go to church all the time. Why does that one get a miracle? Jesus hears this, because not only are they saying that, you're saying you call yourself a holy, righteous man and you mix with the scum of the earth. And the first week when we preached storytellers, I told you he responds not with saying, I will defend myself. Now stand and be questioned, my accusers. No, what he does, he tells a story. Absolutely secure in who he is. And what does he do? He tells the story with a theme. He repeats a theme and he crescendos with the same theme. He speaks into a context. And well, I don't know if they heard him, but may we hear him this morning. Are you with me? And he said in verse 11, there was a man who had 2 sons. And the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the share of property that is coming to me. He divided his property between them. Not many days later, the younger son gathered all he had and took a journey into a far country. And there he squandered his property in reckless living. And when he had spent everything, a severe famine arose in the country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to one of the citizens of that country, who sent him into the fields to feed pigs. And he was longing to be fed with the pots that the pigs ate. And no one gave him anything. And he came to himself and he said, how many of my father's hired servants have more than enough bread? But I perish here with hunger. I will arise and go to my father, and I'll say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Treat me as one of your hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion. He ran and embraced him and kissed him. And the son said to the father, hold on, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, bring quickly the best robe, put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet, and bring the fattened calf and kill it, and let us eat and celebrate. For this my son was dead, and he is alive again. He was lost, and he is found. And they began to celebrate. Now his older son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. He called one of his servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, your brother has come, and your father has killed a fattened calf, because he has received him back safe and sound. But the son, he was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and entreated him, begged him. But he answered his father, look, these many years I have served you, and I never disobeyed your command. Yet you never gave me a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours come, who has devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fattened calf for him. And he said to him, son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours. It was fitting to celebrate and be glad. For this your brother was dead, and is alive. He was lost, and is found. And Jesus starts to present something of a different heart to the audience of the day. Can you imagine, like I can imagine Jesus sitting there talking to these people. And yes, he's talking to the people that came willingly to listen to him, but he's also talking to those that came to accuse him and tell everybody how pathetic and rubbish he is for mixing with people. And he's communicating something to them. Now, I know why Jesus also repeated the same theme 3 times, because I'm a preacher and I sometimes have to repeat things 3 times because you fall asleep. And I can see your faces. And I do it with my kids, and Marlies will say, you are belaboring the point. But I can see when their faces tell me they got what I was saying. And Jesus is in a similar situation. He first says, okay, to these people that say they are so righteous, I'm going to speak about something that gives status, which is livestock. He communicated. He says something was lost, it's found, there needs to be rejoicing. In response to them saying, why do you spend time with rubbish? Well, they are lost. I need to spend time with them. Like a sheep that got lost. I think Pan, no face, he's saying, no e comprendo. They are not getting this. Okay, what else now? He quickly moves on. Next illustration. Well, maybe money will speak to you because you guys are the wealth keepers in this community. And he goes, well, a coin was lost and that was found. Similar, like I don't have to spend time with my full purse. I have to go and look for the one that's missing out of the purse. Blank stares. No response. The message isn't hitting home. So what else is left? If I've spoken about animals, I've spoken about wealth. Well, let me try this. What about the value of life? What about the value of a person? Surely this should reach even the hardest heart. A child was missing, was lost, was doing what is the worst thing you can do as a Jewish boy, sitting with pigs, defiling yourself. Maybe now they will get the message. But it's left unresolved. We don't know. In my mind, I'm hoping they got it. I'm hoping they got the message. And what is the message that he repeats 3 times? He's like, there should be an understanding that you as religious people, you as LRC people that have already found the Lord, doesn't sit with yourself and judge others. No, you take me to others. In their worst state, in their lostness, you are my messengers. That's what he's saying. And these people are not getting it. And every time he tells this theme, he ramps it up a bit more. Short telling, little bit more. And now did you hear the absolute beautiful detail in the story of the prodigal son? He's drawing emphasis to it. I go based on the detail that's in the story to think they probably started engaging Jesus. Like some of you are leaning forward and saying, yes, speak to me, Johan, speak to me. And then I'm like, yes, I feel your energy. I'm going to talk to you. A man had 2 sons. And the biggest insult you could ever do to your dad back in the day is say to him, give me what is mine inheritance. Because in essence, what you're saying to your dad is, I wish you were dead. I will trade your life for something. You are only worth to me what I get to put in my pocket. He goes, this dad. According to Jesus, he divides the inheritance, the estate in essence, as if he is dead. He goes and he calculates, okay, well, how much am I worth dead? He says, here you go, Jude. Here you go, Levi, my younger and my eldest son. And Jude says, thank you, Dad. Yeah, I'm gone. Well, he's not really gone. He's still doing his matric. And Levi says, well, in essence, well, thank you, Dad. I benefit from what my brother did. At least I didn't wish you dead, but hey, now I have my estate. Can you see that here? The same son at the end of the story that's carrying on like you didn't even give me a goat. How lost is this child in himself? He's got what his brother got. In essence, the father has nothing left. He has divided what he has between son A and son B, and son A goes and squanders it, and son B stays with him, farming with what he has. Many days later, the son goes, and now we get to the true meaning of the word prodigal. Who knows what prodigal means? Let me tell you why I ask this. Because in churches we do this. Oh Lord, we call in the prodigals. Send us the prodigal sons and daughters. We declare that they will return. Amen. Have you ever heard that prayer? I think I've even prayed it. Okay, I'm going to shake your world a little bit here, because if you think prodigal means missing, you got something else coming. Hey. Prodigal, the word, means, in the English language, the spending of money or using of resources freely and recklessly. Okay, that phone is going to have to be answered. No problem. Prodigal, the word in English, means having or giving something on a lavish scale. It's Christmas lunch, people. Christmas lunch with my friends and my family is a prodigal affair. Are you understanding what it means? We are calling these lavish people back. They're going to come and take our stuff and go and spend it. The prodigal kids. In essence, what we are reading about you. Now, of course, the word also is also a noun for it, not just an adverb application of the word. A person who spends money in a reckless, extravagant way. And then last it says in biblical reference to Luke 15:11, the son who leaves home and lives a prodigal life. an extravagant, lavish, reckless, all you can see buffet life. He goes and he lives a prodigal life until he has nothing left to be prodigal with. Carry on. So he went and he hired himself out to a citizen of the country, and he began to be in need. And he sits and he starts like feeding pigs on behalf of somebody else. And he sits and he actually is either so starving or so filled with self-pity and remorse that he wants to eat what pigs eat. This one hits home. My grandpa farmed with pigs. I can't even say it with a straight face. There is no ways that I would eat what the pigs eat. Because, first of all, they eat anything and everything in whatever state of decay. Over and above that, they take the trough and they spill it and they mix it with soil like it is HP sauce. They slobber over it. They bite each other and chew pieces of each other with their food. It's not just mud that is mixed in with their diet. They do not have public restrooms. It is filthy. It is disgusting. You should never go to a pig farm because you will never enjoy bacon again in your life. And he's sitting there and he's saying, "Oh, nummies, give me some." What level of desperation do you need to fall to get to that point where you are jealous and envious of what pigs eat? This is rock bottom. From lavish to that in no time flat. But listen to his heart. No one gave him anything. Now, I first read this and I thought, this boy is still a spoiled brat. Because now he's sitting there wanting the feed of the pigs, the food of the pigs. He's actually feeding the pigs. He could just quickly sneak a pod and chow it. But he's saying, no, but somebody must give it to him. And I thought, maybe this is now a change of heart that I should read here. He's no longer just expecting things in life. He's now like actually understanding that something is given and something is received. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I'm choosing to believe that this boy has a complete change of heart while he's sitting here. Can you read it like that? Came to himself, came to his senses. Well, I can't be a son anymore. Why can't you be a son anymore? Because I did the worst thing you can do to your dad. Please die. Can you just die already and give me what is mine? I can only be a worker, a servant. You know, in essence, what this boy has done, he hasn't just been prodigal with his possessions. He's been prodigal with his value. And he went and he squandered his value as a person. He hasn't just gone and been used by his friends for a quick fix and a quick this and a quick that. He has actually lost and squandered the value that he had as a son in his father's household. Because he can't even live up to that and go back and say, Dad, I'm home. I stuffed up. He says, I won't even call him Dad. I'll go, Master, can I be your servant? Carries on. The father comes and fetches the son. The heart of the father on display here. Can you imagine? Now, the people understand what is happening here because after like the third time you hear the same story, something's lost and something is found. The first story, it was the shepherd that went and looked for the sheep. At whose effort? The shepherd. The second time the coin is lost. Who finds the coin? Like my kids think, if you just stand in your room and you go, yeah, keys, 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 keys. Yeah, keys, keys, keys are going to find you. Yeah, keys. Wonder where my shoes are. Yeah, shoes, 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 shoes. Yeah, shoes. And out come the shoes. Here I am. Here, wear me. Is that what we read here? No, because it's insane. Somebody had to look for the coin and find it. Whose effort? The wealthy lady who just tosses coins around in her house. I'm talking to some of you here. The third one. Whose effort fetches this boy? Who's standing in shame and approaching the father? He's got no shoes on. It's a famine. Like, have you ever walked with bare feet to the beach? You run from shade to shade. Maybe it's just me because I go for regular pedicures. Shout out to Unwind. But he's walking barefoot. He's got no covering on. No jewelry left, no sign of belonging anywhere, which these things were, like a robe and a signet ring. And like, he's coming. Who's the one that runs towards him? The Father. What is Jesus emphasizing here? There is somebody else's effort that goes into finding that which is lost. The Father. The Father runs to go and embrace the Son. The Father's calls for the restoration. The Father says, bring a ring. The Father says, bring a robe. The Father says, please, for heaven's sake, pick my child up. His feet must be burning. The Father. Can you imagine what somebody that has lived with pigs and wandered a few days' journey in the heat of a famine, a drought, smells like? There's no, can you imagine that? Father is not, oh, you've spent some time with prostitutes. I smell the fragrance. No, the Father is like, you are right, my boy. The Father knows this child has been somewhere where there's been decay, because that's probably what he smells like. For you youngsters who just eat renowned Escort and Willie's bacon, it don't smell like that when it's still alive. It has a distinctly different odor. And this Father, what Jesus is saying, despite the customs and the laws, this Father still embraces this child. Husbands didn't hug their wives when they were on their cycle, because they would become impure according to the law. If you had been near a body, a corpse at a funeral, you couldn't go near other people. You were unholy, unclean. You first had to go through purification. Jesus is saying, this Father, this heart that you are seeing on display here, that has put the effort in, doesn't just say, oh, over there's my son, quickly bath him, offer some turtle doves, some oil and some flour, and when he's clean, come, hug your dada. This Father runs at the greatest expense to himself. All that he has left is who he is and his status. And he's running away from that to embrace a child who said, may you die. He has no estate left. His sons took it all. All he has is who he is as a Jewish person in this context. And he says, I'm willing to even give that to have you back, my boy. What a picture is this brilliant teacher, Jesus, painting for these Pharisees and Sadducees that say, oh, shame on you, you eat with sinners and tax collectors. He's not just saying, oh, shut up. He's saying, sacrifice who you are to go and fetch that which is lost. I think that's why there's no resolution. We don't know what happens after this, because they probably either got converted or ran away. Okay? I would say. Let's carry on now a little bit. So now we've seen this heart of the son. Why he's called the prodigal? He has squandered who he is. The father has now sacrificed everything he has to find this lost boy. This tremendous effort to fetch that which is lost. And now we get to the older son, the brother, Levi. The older son was in the field. And he came and drew near to the house. He heard music and dancing. You know, this old man is throwing a party. I've heard music. We live in Lombardy East. And sometimes late at night we hear thumping music. But I must be honest, I've never heard the dancing. Like, who has heard dancing? Hannah from ballet. And Grace and them did the Jewish dances and the Zorba, or the Greek ones, the Zorba dance. There is such a celebration. This brother hears the music, and then of course, you know, like I thought maybe this morning I should put on Kalagata. Because that's what dancing sounds like to me. Kalagata. Kalagata. I can't do that. But I can gooi it. That's what dancing sounds like. This brother now becomes aware. There is something here that shouldn't be here. Anybody here just dance and have loud music every day in your house? No. There are those occasions, yeah. Now this brother is noticing, what is this, the 25th of December? Or the 1st of January? Why is there a party at my house? What the father has left is what the older son owns. It said so. He divided his property between them. What is left when you've given 50% to one and 50% to another? Nothing. The father has nothing. What is there belongs to Levi. And Levi thinks, I didn't commission a party and dancing. What's cooking? Walks closer. Hi boy, you come here. It's interesting that the servants respond to the older brother. That's the story that Jesus is telling here. Here they come close. He's like, what's happening here? You go into somebody else's house and there's a gardener. You call the gardener, hey, you, come here. What's happening with these trees? That gardener is going to say, who are you? Go into, like I've tried it, go into Pick and Pay and say, can you quickly fetch something for me? That cashier says, hey. I said, go. I'm waiting here. I need 2 liters of milk. You are not the boss of me. What are we hearing here? Jesus is saying this boy, Levi has authority over servants. He sends them. He questions them. They answer. One of the servants asked these things meant. He said to him, your brother has come home and your father has killed a fattened calf. What? My father killed one of my fattened calves. And you hear how Jesus tells the story, because the brother says, the fattened calf, you didn't even give me a goat. Goat meat for anyone here? Lamb? Yeah. Now we're all like, boykie time. Goat meat is actually not that bad. It's not my favorite, but okay. And he becomes angry. And in essence, can you blame him? Who comes to your house, goes into your fridge, takes out your best cut of meat, cooks it for somebody else, and says, oh, by the way, join us. We're eating at your table. And you're just supposed to go, sure, would you like red or white wine with that? He's angry. Jesus isn't telling an absurd story here. Jesus is the author of life. He understands people. He is using his knowledge of humanity to paint a picture. This boy is legitimately angry because his father has gone and done something without his permission, and he's celebrating something which should not be celebrated. And he says, for many years I've served you, Dad. I've never disobeyed your commands. Yet you never gave me a young goat. I might celebrate with my friends. Just by the way, young goats are better than old goats from an eating point of view. It becomes very tough if they get old. I've also eaten goat on the farm. Yes, I have. That I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, when did this brother cease to be his brother? Now he puts the ownership completely on the father. He says, he devoured your property with prostitutes. And you kill a fattened calf for him. And the dad says, son, you're always with me and all that is mine is yours. He's saying, buddy, because of that brother of yours that you now call my son. I don't know if it works like this in other households, but when the kids do something wrong, they're Marlisa's children. Did you see my boys on stage today? Son, you're always with me and what is mine is yours. I literally gave you ownership of everything that I had left after I gave your brother what he asked me for. In the worst possible thing. And it's so funny, my boy. In my mind, I'm hearing this. You didn't say no. Like you didn't fight when everything that was left is yours. But okay. It was fitting to celebrate and be glad, for your brother was dead and he is alive. He was lost and he is found. Crazy, hey? Let's see how I'm doing for time. I'm wrapping up. Okay, so Jesus ramps us up. A sheep, money, a person. What is the value of life? We don't know. But prodigal, that means wasted, squander, reckless living. A wasted life, wasted value. Not only did the son go and waste away everything that he owned, he actually devalued himself. It started a bit early in the pigsty when he realizes, I am worthless. I must go back to where I could possibly find. He first overestimated his value. Can you hear this? I want you to die and I deserve what you are going to give me right now. And he's got this thing where he's grappling with value. First overestimating his value to say to his father, die and give me what I want. And then he underestimates the value and he says, I'm no longer a son. I am a slave. The older brother was just as much a prodigal, a squanderer as the younger one. His value was linked to the actions of the brother. And then he wasn't even man enough to say that what I have, and I can use. No, he was on the opposite spectrum. He was just hoarding. His father said, you could have had a party. You could have had a go. It is yours. But he sits with this mentality of, I will not. I do not, I cannot, I do not have, yet he has. Jesus is communicating all of this in a simple story with so much detail that the plot makes sense and so simplistic in the application of the lessons. This boy says, I have never had this with you. This boy has wasted, squandered, being prodigal with the time that he had with his dad. Like the dad says, we don't spend time celebrating together, my son. Like it's, like side note to parents, spend the time with your kids. He's not getting the value of being with the father either. He sees it as worthless. Yet he lived with his father. So wasted life, wasted values all along. The only one who sees the value of life is the Father. The next thing that happened is there's wasted opportunities. The younger brother, he could have done so much with everything he inherited. Instead, he just squanders. The absolute, in-your-face lesson. There's resources that you can do so much with, and he just spends it willy-nilly. Loses it all. You know what else he squandered? This opportunity. The trust that the Father put in him. When he said to him, it's an awful thing you're asking me, but I trust you. Here's what is yours. The older brother, the Father is with him. The opportunity to live with the Father, learn from the Father, be with the Father. The resources that he has, he's missing the opportunity with the Father. And then this wasted moment where he could celebrate with his father and celebrate with his brother. But instead, he just is prodigal. He squanders. He wastes the moment. And I think what we forget is that this story is not just a story in the Bible. This is our story. Maybe I should say this is my story. Let me not presume. I look at it and I see how I have wasted relationship with the Father at the expense of what I could get instead of who He is. This is my story. This is my story, and I look at the talents and the gifts that He had given me freely. I didn't deserve it. And I've gone and spent my time, my talents, my gifts, all of my resources, all of it, on something other than what brings life. This is my story. This is my story, where I've devalued myself so much that I couldn't even face the one who gives me identity and value. Wasted. It's my story. I've been prodigal. And I wonder how those people that He answered when they accused Him felt when He told this story. Are you a prodigal? Are you wasting and squandering the opportunities that you have? Are you wasting and squandering the resources that you have? Are you wasting and squandering the opportunities that you have with God? I don't know. You have to answer that. Are you a little bit lost? Are you a little bit distant? Are you sitting, envying your rot, decay, muck? Have you devalued yourself completely? Have you lost your value in yourself? Or are you overestimating the value and demanding something which is maybe not the right time to demand? This is our story. I love the reality that there's a Father who waits with anticipation for the return of the lost person. I love the reality that the Creator has given us free will and has so much hope and trust in His heart that He placed in us for the deep crying out to deep, the nature that He left within us, that He keeps an eye out for us. I love the depiction of the heart of the Father, the righteous and honoring and yet tender and kind. His kindness that leads us to repentance. He rushes towards us when we turn and face Him in our rot. I love the nature that Jesus is painting of God the Father here, that he's starting to reveal that the dirty, rotten, defiled does not reduce the embrace. The wasteful, the wandering does not separate. The decisions do not influence the nature of God. And I celebrate that He is eternally immutable. this Jesus that comes with 3 repetitive themes: lost sheep, lost coin, lost boy. And in that, he doesn't just say what is lost must be found. He also says that which is lost has value. And can we fetch it? And with that, the storytelling, I'm thinking, what do we take from this as a church? That perhaps it's a commissioning story for us. That we will find ourselves like the father going to look for the son, like the shepherd going to look for the sheep, like the lady who looks like I look for things and finds the coin. It's a commissioning moment for us. Who are you going to find? Who are you going to bestow value on? Who are you going to say, no matter what you've done, here's something. You are valuable to God, which means you are valuable to me. A commissioning time. They ragged me because the last time I said, all your friends are going merrily to hell. Look at the open seats. They're waiting for you to invite somebody into it. That's what Jesus is saying to these people. You who think you are rotten, come closer. You who think you are good, come closer. I got you. I value you. Amen.